Hey, welcome everybody to the Daily Gun Show. Coming live every weeknight at midnight Eastern and talk about guns for an hour. And nobody showed up tonight, so it'll be a quick show. But, yep. So let's see, we're going to talk about a couple of things here, I guess, and then I'll just start listening to this podcast for a little bit. We'll see if anybody shows up. Yeah, we'll start listening to this podcast again.
I was showing signs of needing it, so I stopped taking it, and I was only taking Advil. So I went to my next follow-up and I gave him which they won't take that. Right. But he was like, "What are you doing? You need that?" I'm like, "No, I don't need that. No, I'm good. I have everything I need right here."
Right. What I ended up doing when I was spent a week and a half in the hospital and rehab. And rehab, by the way, I thought I'm going to be hanging out with like actresses and rock stars with drugs and sex problems. No, rehab was code for old folks home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they didn't tell me that.
Eat your porridge.
I had no idea. They put me in the back. They put me in the last room in the hall, but there was no one in my room, and there was no one in the rooms next to me. They're like, yeah, but one nurse called told me, she's like, "You're a well-known talker. You can walk, you can talk. We're not worried about you."
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks. I couldn't get out fast enough, but yeah, I'm like, I don't want to take this stuff. I'll be fine. Fine, I'll get up. You need to constantly gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah, I try not to go to the doctors at all unless it's absolutely
Right, unless something's falling off.
Duct tape and Advil, I'm good to go.
Right. All right, what else can we? Let's talk about some gun stuff.
Sure.
What do you have? So sometimes I'm thinking of telling people that we're in the safest car in the Commonwealth.
Absolutely.
When I go to New Jersey and interview people, not so much. I got some pepper spray down there, but
I know
more than 3/4 of an ounce. Yeah, it falls out of my tray. I do have my high cap magazine here, and some shotgun ammo, and a handgun ammo, and a few knives.
I got my Glock 43 today and
Nice. Cool.
in these hands.
Lethal force, baby. These are registered in 48 contiguous states.
What's your favorite gun?
My favorite gun of all time is the Smith & Wesson Model 19. 6-inch barrel, blue, big wood grips, looks very dirty, hairy. That is the gun. That's the first gun that I bought. I inherited a few guns. It's the first one I bought, and I spent a lot of time dry firing it. And I like dry firing. I like dry firing double action revolvers because it's a heavy trigger squeeze, and if you have a good trigger squeeze with a revolver, then everything else will be.
Well, that's called a Massachusetts rifle, right? 10.5 pounds.
It is. But I'm like dry firing a Glock. I'm like, okay, there's nothing. Yeah, I should work more on one-handed reloading and all that other stuff. Because the trigger squeeze is nothing for everything else. But I carry a 637 J-frame, 2 speed strips, and usually 3 knives.
Not a revolver. I own one because I have to teach with it.
Yeah.
So I obviously have to know how to use it.
What do you have?
I have a very old first generation Colt Detector Specialist model.
Wow.
It's my wife's grandfather's gun.
I was gonna say.
Yep.
That's either expensive or in the family.
Well, both. I've had people offer me money that I never thought I'd see offered for a real gun. But yeah, it's the first gen, so I guess they hold the value. And things pristine. You just had it for a backup.
Well, that's cool. I bought a 5-shot hammerless J-frame. I think it was a 340 BB. It's an $850 gun. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not spending, like in my mind, I'm not spending $850 on a 5-shot revolver.
Yeah.
So I found a guy.
Good dishes, right?
So I bought this. I found it. I found one on Northeast Shooters, and a guy was selling it for $550, at 5/4 and 5, and I'm like, $500 is my limit, and I'm like, and I started putting the gas for $475, and I'm like, all right, if he asks for $475, I'll take $450 cash.
Oh, yeah.
So send him a message, $450, you got it. Let's meet. I get $450 today. This is how I learned this from a financial guy. Especially when you buy things, private sales, which we can still do, which you're trying to get rid of.
legal all day.
All day. Only 4 times.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You're not occupied territory.
Yeah.
But I like to go with large bills and then pretend it's a game show. 100, 200, because the person just puts their hand out and starts drooling. So that's my skill. What else? What else can we talk about? If you what would you be doing for fun if you weren't doing your job?
Spend more time with the kids.
You just took a week vacation.
Yeah, I took a week vacation so I could be with the kids and catch up on some videos. I think the wife's not going to watch this. I hope so. But yeah, no,
I your wife. You're never the other.
I finally, yeah, you can say that again. Every other week on payday. I was doing a build from Explain, where they sponsored a build. Being a cop, I can still buy lowers in Massachusetts.
Nice.
I know everybody doesn't like it, but I built a backup gun for my turnout gear.
Cool.
The chief gave me the okay, so I bought a lower, and I'll explain it. In combination with the channel, we built an AR pistol. Just finished the build yesterday. Editing, it's probably a couple of days editing, but that should be up on the channel soon.
Cool. Well, I'll make sure I get a link and put it in there.
So I appreciate it. Yeah, it's nice, black and tan.
That's what it. Yeah, I did see that. That is
Not your typical all black police roll out of the car. It's in a little bit of flash.
right. That is way cool. Way cool.
That and so when I was out at SHOT Show.
Yeah, let's talk about SHOT Show. SHOT Show's fun.
Yeah, SHOT Show's great. It's the first time I've ever gone. I was lucky enough to be asked to go, which is different. I mean, I never thought that the channel would get to anywhere where people would actually want me to be in different parts of the country. But I got to go out there and I was talking with the SIG guys, and they had this. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a We the People 1911. I put it up on all.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Not a 1911 guy. Just don't like it. I've never shot one that didn't have some type of hiccup or something.
Oh man.
But this gun is so pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't use the word pretty with a gun, but it is sexy. It says me on it. It's got the stars on it for the 13 original colonies. It says We the People on it. The grips are aluminum with 50 stars, 25 on each side. It's about
Wow.
as Patriot can get.
Aluminum grips has got to suck.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't feel like it's going to rip your hand up. And the guys from SIG assure me that it won't. So, but yeah, I'm actually in a spot where I'm going to pick one up Friday.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Look forward to seeing the video on that.
I can't wait.
I'm one of these guys that when I became a gun guy, and like I think everyone's got something. Like everyone has one until I buy one. You know, like I didn't have a Glock, and I'm like, I should get a Glock, and then I got a Glock. I'm like, oh, everyone's got a Glock. And I felt the same way about the AR. I felt the same way about the 1911, and I'm like, I had one really good month as an instructor a few years ago, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy myself a 1911, and I bought myself a 1911, and then later that month I bought myself a transmission with the rest of the money.
There you go.
That's not what I wanted to spend on.
What kind of
I got a Ruger, the Ruger 1911. I think they call it anything special.
the boat anchor one, the heavy one?
Yeah, it's big. I wanted to get I like the look of the, this is a Massachusetts driver right here.
It's Worcester all day.
Holy crap. Taking a center lane left turn.
It's my city.
I wanted to get I like the commander size.
Yeah, that's nice.
But, oh my god, it's the first one I'm buying. I gotta get a full size.
See the ones that Jesse gave me. So Jesse moved from motorcycles to the custom guns and stuff.
Yeah.
And he made one for President Trump that is amazing. And through that, actually saw his, he makes ammo to it, saw his ammo at SHOT Show.
Cool.
And check out his website. We can't afford it, but he makes some beautiful stuff.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I'll have to take up a picture. This is what I think is pretty cool about learning about video. Well, I don't have any. I'm sure, just like with you, everything that I've learned about making videos, I've learned from making videos.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's no class.
There's no cinematography school, but I've learned that I can take the, I can get a picture of the SIG 1911,
Yep,
put it in a video, put it right there when we're talking about it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I've learned the hard way sometimes. Don't use flashy transitions because people get angry.
Right.
don't get long-winded because people get angry. You're right. That's why most of my videos are like 3 to 5 minutes at sweet spot.
Yeah.
Trying to give them the information they need or they want to know, and then jump out and pull the pin. Because anything longer than that, they're done with it.
Right. We do the short attention span.
Off the phone.
I know, right? Dude, come on.
That is illegal. Get off the phone.
All right, so while we're here,
The registry of all places.
right. So this is something I'm going to rant about. Totally not gun related. This is something that, and you've got to know because you're a cop, all right? So you already know. Turning left onto a main road when people stop, it frustrates the hell out of me. Even if they're stopping to let me out, they will stop. The oncoming traffic will, they'll stop the traffic and wait for me to come through.
Yeah.
But there's still traffic coming from the right.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm not stupid enough to get myself into an accident. This is ridiculous. Then what's even stupider is when the traffic from the right stops. I'm like, you guys are both idiots. I still give them away, but I'm like, okay, hi, thank you, you guys.
Yeah.
Right?
So you know, if you pull out an intersection, somebody would go, you'll still respond to the crash.
Right. This is where if I get into a crash, I would like to get out. Possibly choke the person.
Yeah, they're all driving when they're laughing at you.
Right. So we're in Massachusetts. You're a Mass guy. This is Massachusetts politics. Their driving is their politics because they will stop and be nice to you. Oh, here we go. Now she's making a left-hand turn. Holy crap!
Awesome.
This is Massachusetts politics. They will stop traffic behind them to let you out, so you feel good, but they're being jerks to everyone behind them. And I try to explain this to people, and they're like, no, they're just being nice. They're trying to keep traffic going. They're not trying to keep traffic going.
Be nice to the voter.
Right. Right. I'm not done. It pisses me off beyond belief. It really does.
So what are your goals for YouTube as a fellow YouTuber?
My goals for YouTube.
Do you ever think we call ourselves YouTubers?
I never did, and I'm still uncomfortable calling myself a YouTuber. I'm just a guy that has a YouTube channel. I will say this. So my day job, I don't tell my day job what I do. I'm a band teacher at a bunch of Catholics. I work for a private company. I have had some kids discover my YouTube channel. September of 2000, it was October of 2016. I had a video get 1 million views, right? And it ended up number 27 video, trending video on YouTube. I had the kids come into school one day and they're like, hey, Mr. Cook, we started a YouTube channel.
Is it the Christmas one?
No, this was Mario. Like, hey, Mr. Cook, we started a YouTube video. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We saw you. You play the trumpet shooting a gun. I'm like, that sounds dangerous. Why would someone do that? That seems a little crazy. I don't know. No, it's definitely you. I'm like, all right, costume.
Yeah, I did an early retirement type deal and worked in the private sector for 2 years. Yeah. I won't say the company because they saw a video I did. It was kind of a pointed opinion piece. And they came out and they asked me to take it down, and I was like, no, it's freedom of speech, and it's the Second Amendment. This is what I'm about as constitutional as it gets. Yeah, so it caused an issue, but yeah, I don't go out there and tell people, right? If I get recognized, I get recognized. My current place, there's subscribers, so
That's cool.
Good hands.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I never thought I'd say I'm a YouTuber. It still feels weird.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And like I said, there's a couple schools I go to. Kids have seen them and watched them, and
Yeah, like I used to be nervous about repercussions of what this person knows on my YouTube, like the judge knows of me. Could affect this case. It's freedom of speech.
it is.
If that person on the corner can sit there and say, Trump's terrible, or this one can say guns are bad, I can say guns are good.
Bam. How many YouTube channels do you have?
Just
Okay. Okay.
That's enough.
Never mind.
I actually was thinking about doing a second thing.
Yeah.
But it's too late in the game, you know. All right. Everything's already. People know what my channel is, and that's what they expect when every video comes out. So I think to separate it or to try to do something different. I was even thinking about a name change last year. You know, Guns and Gadgets doesn't make you think second in the news. That's where I came up with the slogan, the tagline.
Yeah.
And then I changed. I was trying to help the channel grow by like buying a Facebook ad for $5. Oh my god! But they wouldn't let me do it because the logo says Gun and the logo was an AR. So that's when I rebranded the logo to make it more patriotic. The words now, and that's cool. But I still can't do it since. So.
I got tagged on a couple of yard sale pages. I even like, instead of putting up Gunborn, I put the little logo of the stick guy, the bathroom sign guy, holding a gun. It says gun, points to the gun, and safety points to the brain. Nope, they won't do that one either. I hate giving Facebook money.
I haven't had the opportunity. I hear they can help, you know, if you do it the right way and put it in the right groups and focus groups. But
right, I've never had any luck with it, so
I can't pay them to take my money.
yeah, that's just as well.
But that's a victory.
It is.
If the tyrants don't want me, then I'm doing something right.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, we're going to wrap things up. How can people find you and all of your stuff?
So primarily Guns and Gadgets on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I also post a couple different platforms because YouTube is again on its third or fourth iteration of an attack on gun channels. So I also post obviously Patreon if you want to help support the channel.
Yeah.
I am viewer supported on Patreon. You can also find my stuff on Gunstreamer and YouTube, which are Pro 2A platforms.
Very cool.
And like everybody else, I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all that craziness.
Very cool. Very cool. We'll put links to all that stuff so people can find you and check you out. And I gotta remember how to get to where we're going.
Yeah, fair left.
Auburn, fair left. I know we did not go to Kelly Square. That's all right, so check out Jared at Guns and Gadgets. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got all the other cool stuff that he just talked about. We're going to put some links on there. We're going to finish this drive because we are almost back to where we need to be and get Jared off to where he needs to go. Dude, thank you so much for being on the channel.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
You need to check out the Riding Shotgun, like and share and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun YouTube. The YouTube channel is where you're watching this. If you're listening to it, you can listen to it on iTunes. You can listen to it on Google Play Music. You can listen to it on Spotify. You can listen to it on iHeartRadio. And you need to check out the Self-Defense Radio Network at, I think it's sdrn.us. I think it's the website. It is all of your pro-freedom podcasts in one place. And we will see you guys next time on Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Again, thanks a lot, man.
Thank you. Okay, guys.
So yeah, that was Riding Shotgun with Charlie, and he was talking to Guns and Gadgets, Jared, and nobody showed up today. So I guess that'll be the end of the show. It's the end of the Second Amendment and of advocacy. I'm not saying a meteor is going to hit the Earth or nothing, but yeah, nobody wants to do 2A stuff anymore. Yeah, it was a pretty good run. 6 years or so. But you know, that's a lot of effort. It's a lot of 2A effort. Enough. All right, well, so there's no need to just sit here in silence. So he's jumping in, and let's see if anybody's saying anything anywhere. Honda's out there. Yeah, what am I supposed to say to myself here? They'd probably copyright me for that.
What's up, dude?
Hey,
How's it going?
Greater Midland, just getting ready to shut it down. Nobody showed up.
Oh, well, sorry. I just got off work, man. Stupid Tuesdays. What was that video that you were just showing? I didn't catch much of it.
That's a podcast called Riding Shotgun with Charlie. And that guy is an advocate. He's a school teacher. And then when he goes out and does different, like traveling for work, I think, or, if he's going somewhere specifically to meet up with a Second Amendment advocate, he'll try to meet up with others and drive around in his car, has a couple of cameras in the car to film the two of them while he's driving, talking and typing here at the same time. So anyway, he drives around in a car, has cameras pointed at him, and then just interviews that whoever it is that he's driving with. And they usually drive around for like a half an hour, 40 minutes. It's good. I like it because it's an interesting, and it's, he's a friendly guy, and it's about 2A, but it's and it gives you some insight to the people who he's talking to. But if it's like 40 minutes, probably 20 minutes of it is talking about 2A stuff or guns, because they're driving around in a car and there's distractions and just general chit chat and stuff. So it's not like meat and potatoes, but it's certainly like more interesting than, I don't know. I could care less about a new grip angle on a CZ or the new way that they rounded off sights on some other gun, So I'm not interested in some shit. So this is more interesting to me than other topics. But like I say, it's kind of a frustrating show because I'd rather just listen to the person talk sometimes. But number one, you don't get all these people in a studio, so you don't get that. There is no alternative. And then two, it is neat to see people in a car like that, like driving around and having adventures and how they react to just, somebody stopping in front of them or a funny thing walking down the street, or, just day-to-day shit. That it's interesting where you don't get that kind of stuff in a studio interview ever.
Right. I watch, different interest of mine is motorcycles, but I watch what are called moto vlogs, and it's basically the same thing where they set up a studio on their helmet. So they'll have like a microphone on the inside of the helmet and a camera on the front of it. So you're listening to them talk, but like watching what they're doing. And like a lot of the time, there's one guy that I watch Do It With Dan who does some gun stuff, but he does more motorcycle and car stuff like that. But a lot of the time they'll talk about something completely unrelated to what they're doing. And it's kind of cool to, like have that kind of backdrop rather than just, a normal chat room or whatever. It's kind of the same thing. Like you're just sitting there talking, but versus, you're on riding a motorcycle and talking, or sitting in a car in that case and talking. But I do kind of like that mixing it up kind of format of, the content still matters, you still got to have like intelligent things to say. You can't just be like, oh, blah, 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 ride a bike, and people aren't going to watch you then. But yeah, I like that.
Well, and that sounds like a little different too, because I'm guessing their cameras are pointed out from their helmets, not looking at their eyeballs from their helmets, right?
Well, some of them will have multiple cameras set up where there'll be like one on the handlebars pointing at them. And
okay, handlebars, but still, even the handlebars looking up at a guy on a motorcycle, that's going to be interesting in itself versus one of them lipstick cameras. I think they're, what do you call those things? GoPros. Yeah. On the dashboard. So all you're seeing is the person in a little bit of a fisheye warped perspective, but then their car and the pillars and their seatbelt and the back seat, and like maybe depending on the car, because he rents cars, it's not always the same car. Like depending on the car, you might see a little bit out the back window. Maybe you get to see a little peripheral of what's going on as they pass it out the edges, like out the sides. But only rarely does he like put a dash cam on the car and like point the thing forward so you can actually see where they're driving, which is actually pretty frustrating when they're like, hey, look at that. And if he doesn't have footage of whatever it is they're looking at, then basically you just get to hear them maybe describe what they just looked at. So if you're talking like cameras pointed off either the front of a motorcycle or off the motorcycle helmet as what the driver of a motorcycle would see, you know, even if they're talking about fish business, you know, like who cares? Because that would be an interesting, assuming they're driving somewhere cool, right? Like that would be interesting just to watch that happen.
Yeah, and I was just thinking when you were talking there, my brother actually does car YouTube videos. That's what he does. And well, I mean, that's not what he does for a living, but he just does that for fun.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got actually 3 cameras in his car. So he's got one that's pointed like inside the cab towards the people who were sitting in there. And like he's got like some fancy Audi, you know, it's just got like it's like a 2-seater, so no one in the back seat or whatever. So it's just whoever's in the front seat and whoever's driving. And then one camera pointed forward so you can see what's going on in front of you. And then there's another camera behind you pointing backwards. And then depending on what happens during the drive, like he'll edit the video to show what the thing is that you're talking about or whatever. Yeah, like he does that. And that's kind of cool the way that he's got it set up. I'd have to talk to him about what kind of cameras he uses and all that stuff. But yeah, that's something that people could definitely do. Especially if you're like a truck driver and you're making videos and you're a truck driver kind of thing. Like that'd be a great way to do like podcasts from your truck, you know, and like, I don't know, maybe there's something to be said about like, it might be slightly dangerous to be talking, but you're not really looking at the phone or whatever you're doing while you're doing it. You're paying attention to the road and talking. So I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be dangerous.
No, it'd be dangerous. As soon as you got in trouble or as soon as you did something or something happened, you'd be immediately liable for sure. But people do worse than that and that and that all day, every day. Okay. So it's not like it's unheard of or anything.
Right.
But you don't have to necessarily put all kinds of attention. And you could certainly, you know, just ignore it, like give it what attention it's due, you know. In other words, if something's happening on the road, just deal with what's happening on the road and then get back to your podcast, which is probably what most people would do, right?
Yeah. I would assume anyway, yeah. Or I mean, even if it's not a podcast, I mean, you could record a video where you're just talking at the camera, you know, and if you need to pause for a minute and beep at someone and do whatever, then, you know, you can edit that out, or if it's interesting, leave it in or whatever. But the camera and what's going on that doesn't have to be the focus of what you're doing the whole time.
So Dan just jumped in. You guys are in Vegas at the SHOT Show. Well, tell us what it is. And then this is sort of a, what would you call, like, what do they call that? But basically it's a university. It's a place where you can go to learn how to do SHOT Show from SHOT Show, right? It's not like a third party. But you guys are in Vegas doing that. Now you're saying, I was thinking it was over a weekend. So I guess it starts tomorrow, really.
Well, it started today or this afternoon, and it runs through Thursday at noon.
Oh, I thought it sounded like when you said it was across the street, like the today's thing was sort of extra or like additional or something.
Oh, they put us up at Harrah's across the street from where the SHOT Show is held.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's where the hotel is that they're putting you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then I thought you were at like a separate, you know, sometimes when they have a convention, they'll have like, well, this isn't official, but the night before everybody's meeting up across the street. I thought that's what it was, sort of like that. So,
yeah.
So you said something about, where'd it go? The thing they gave you today was a whole wait, no, hold on. They gave you a book about leveraging social media and virtual events to connect to your customers. I'm hoping we'll talk about that. Did you have any chance to look through that? Or is it like, here's the book and then here's another book and here's a third book? Or was it like, here's the book and let's talk about this for an hour?
Well, let me look at the schedule, because they give you a swag bag full of stuff that you're going to use during the conference, and a lot of this stuff you can read on your own time. And one of the things and they gave us a backpack like they did last time, and these backpacks are cool. They should say SHOT Show Exhibitor Academy on them, but one of the things that was in the bag was this book called The Social Trade Show, and it's about leveraging social media and virtual events to connect with your customers. And basically, it goes into live streaming. It goes into creating engaging video interviews, web shows like you're doing, choosing topics, interacting with your target audience, keeping it on track, so on and so forth. And then getting sponsorships and stuff like that. So that's one thing. And today,
Is it sort of like bullet points, like here's all the things you need to do, or is it like here's all the chapters are the things that need to be done, and we're gonna give you like insight and like go into all of them, or is it just like here's the things that need to be done?
are you talking about the sessions, or are you talking about the book?
I'm just talking about that book specifically. That question.
Okay, this book is a 300-page book.
Oh, okay.
It's very, 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 very detailed.
And when was it published? Recently?
Let me look.
Is it like an NSSF thing?
No, you can buy this at the
Okay.
bookstore by Q. It was published June 2012.
Okay, that's not that bad.
Yeah, and goes into the social strategy, prime the pump, on with the show, you're not finished yet, sponsorships, building social media enthusiasm, how to generate awareness, for whatever your cause is, ours being the Second Amendment. So that's that whole thing, and basically you can take that home with you and you can read it. There's another book that they give you, which is all of the slideshow presentations for all of the breakouts and places to scribble notes as we run through these things. And today's session happened to be 3 big ideas for better booth traffic. And they brought in a consultant who does trade shows. And she was very, very informative. So I got a lot of video of that, because they didn't mind if people took videos. So
you just said they didn't care if people were taking videos. That's cool.
Yeah. So
Sometimes they're real petty about that.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't bring it up at the beginning, and in fact, some of the slides they invited people, take pictures of this, and people were taking pictures and stuff like that. So I just put that in the video that I was doing. They had everybody in the room introduce themselves. People from Browning, Winchester. A lot of first timers are here. People that never exhibited at SHOT Show. And then other people who have exhibited at SHOT Show but never been to the Academy before. So you've got that.
Do you think that's something that's worth the time to go up there and do if you've never done it before?
If you're exhibiting, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, because I don't know if you said, but it's free, right? The hotel is free. Did they pay for travel also?
No, they did not pay for travel.
But then
Just gotta catch a flight.
Food is free.
The food, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they want people to succeed at SHOT, so they're helping you like a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and this lady who was giving the talk today said SHOT Show is one of the only organizations that actually goes out and want their people who are exhibiting to be better at it, to get more out of it. And she showed us examples of good booths and bad booths, and invited us to really think about the fact that a person walking by your booth, they found, will decide whether or not they want to engage with you just by the look on the people in your booth's face and the overall look of the booth, and they'll decide all of that in 7 seconds.
I think
So-
I usually decide those things in about 1 second.
Yeah. So they had last SHOT Show, they had little squares, little tracker squares that were on the back of the badges, so they could track where people were going and where they were hanging up at, and in an effort to understand what the foot traffic was doing, so they could redesign the floor plan to be better, and so people wouldn't get hung up at a 90-degree turn or something like that. And then that's going to become more important because SHOT Show is expanding to this new facility they're building by the MGM Grand in 2021. And so they're going to have some big name anchors over there that are going to anchor that place down.
So in other words, it's gonna not be at stupid ass Sands.
It's
will
going to
built
be
at-
at both. They're expanding. They're not leaving the Sands. They're expanding.
They're adding a location.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And
And the
that's
reason-
where they were talking about taking the supplier showcase next year, right? In 2020, or is that a different place?
I don't know what's going on in 2020 now, because I thought the expansion was happening in 2020, but today they were talking about 2021.
Okay.
So
Well, it makes sense because if they were going to change anything for next year, they'd already be telling everybody, right?
yeah. So
Okay, so they're getting ready to be in basically 2 locations
correct,
simultaneously, I guess.
correct.
Yeah.
Because they've got so many people that are on the wait list to exhibit at SHOT Show, it's really difficult to get in. I mean, we were invited for 8 years and we turned it down for 8 years
You couldn't afford it.
because we couldn't afford it.
Well, yeah, because when I first started going to SHOT Show, the booths were like $8,000, and then I think the last time somebody told me it was more like $14,000 just for the real estate, and then you start talking about fees for moving your stuff in and creating a booth, and then not even like your own employees and like feeding them and having them in Vegas for time, but like all that other stuff on top of all that.
It depends how big your booth is going to be. If it's going to be a large booth, yes, you can spend that amount of money easy. If you're just a small person, a small shop, and you get a 10 by 10, it's going to be less than that.
Oh, okay.
Unless you add things like range day, which is going to cost a lot of money. Easily a lot of money. But if you don't do that, if you just be there with a 10 by 10, being a small shop, you can get pretty good traffic just by planning in advance. And that was a lot of what they went over today. Such as pre-show marketing, an 8-week pre-plan, such as raising awareness, proving expertise, strengthening relationships,
Hey, let me ask you, are you reading like the stuff that they talked about today, or like your notes or something?
Yeah.
So now,
I hear.
when let me ask, did they have, or did they mention something like when you said sweet spot or something? Did they mention anything like when is the good time to start talking SHOT Show? Because
Yeah.
there's got to be a time when people are like, that's too far away, I don't care. And then there's going to be a time where they're going to get saturated with it. So did they say when's a good time to start doing your SHOT Show stuff?
Yes, they talked all about that today. And because registration for SHOT Show is opening now. So the time to start with, it's an 8-week plan. And so you start about 8 weeks out, and you start raising your awareness. You want to talk about, you want to invite people to your booth. You don't really want to make it all about you. You want to make it about your customers, if that makes sense. It'll make more sense when I put the video up, because I've got video of this.
What do you think about? And this is just an idea because I don't set up booths at gun shows or certainly not at SHOT Show or anything, so I don't know anything about it really.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think about some sort of a cool little cheap to make or produce trinket that you can give away for free? So you put like $100 or $200 into like a bag of trinkets that you can give out, and that might give you some brand recognition as far as like, hey, it's got your logo on it, and also put some foot traffic towards your booth because people like free stuff, you know.
A lot of people do pins. A lot of people do spinners. A lot of people do candy.
Yeah,
There's
candy.
a lot of candy. No, people love candy though. I mean, I don't know what you've done booths, so you know, but people that are walking around, you start getting dry because a lot of people aren't from Vegas. So, you know, you're at altitude. Remember when, or think about when people visit your area, like how wiped out they are. So people go to SHOT and it's huge, and then they're wiped out from being dehydrated. So they're down in water, and for whatever reason, like those like bowls of hard candy are like salt licks.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
people hover around those things. You see people eating that candy. And I don't know, I don't think there's any way to dispute. I guess somebody could try to change my mind, but for what it costs to have a little tiny bowl of candy on your thing, and then the goodwill of somebody sticking a thing of candy in their mouth as they see your logo, like it just seems like a no-brainer. Like I would definitely have candy sitting out if I was at SHOT Show.
Yeah.
Or that's another good idea that I mean, put like get like bottles of water, like those little mini bottles of water, and print your own labels or something, make like a cool label for it, and then relabel the bottles of water and just hand those out.
Yeah.
But did they get into that kind of stuff today?
You generally, because health regulations want to steer clear from food. I mean, but I don't see a harm in, you know, packaged candy, Hershey's or whatever. But a lot of people do. We do stickers. We do patches. We do. What's the other? Oh, I've seen Bic lighters. People do Bic lighters too, or they give out little samples of their products. Like we were giving out titanium screws, you know, for ARs. Is something that would cost you a good deal of money if you were to buy it on eBay. So people, you know, people like that little tiny bit of stuff. I mean, you don't have to give away anything, but goodwill, smiles, having your people look like they're interested, making eye contact, you know, opening questions such as, are you interested in blah? What are you looking for? Have you ever considered, that sort of stuff drives people more into your booth than just standing there and saying, hi, how you doing? Hi, all day, because they hear that all day. But
What would you say if you had to pick something that you learned today? Or like something that opened your eyes, or something that you're like you were glad that you went today?
I learned avoid displaying too much, and I wrote this, avoid displaying too much stuff. Focus on just the 2 or 3 big things. Don't have your booth cluttered with a lot of things. I know you really want to show everything that you're selling, but there's just not time.
It gets confusing.
Yeah, it gets confusing. So that's the big thing.
Well, and I've seen you can have the stuff there, but like you say, like have your booth focus on something. But then if somebody's standing around and they're doing business with you and they're like, oh, what do you got, the other one? Like, oh yeah, I got it over here.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have it all out in front of everybody all the time, right?
And if you're doing pictures, what's more effective than just having a picture of a rifle, say, is people remember pictures of people using your product more than they remember pictures of just the product. So if you have a hunter using your rifle out in the field, people are going to remember that more than just a picture of the rifle sitting on the ground. Stuff like that.
No, they do it like car shows do it, where they'll have like, oh, here's our booth with a bunch of like models that we hired and trained for a week, about our products, so that they can get more people over there. Or is that gimmicky and people kind of frown upon that?
That's gimmicky, and they frown upon that because people are paying a lot of money to go to SHOT Show.
It's not like a trade show where you're just going there on a Saturday because it's in town.
Yeah. I mean, this is during the week, so you're giving up work time. You're sending people out of your shop to be there, sometimes the whole shop. And people are sending buyers there. And buyers don't want to talk to show bunnies that, are there to look good but don't know anything about your product. They want to talk to people that actually know something.
Yeah, you quit seeing the booth bunnies, like the actual like Hooters chicks, because it's Vegas. There's definitely girls there that are like in agencies or whatever it's called, that like, can be hired to work at booths at trade shows.
Mm-hmm.
But they quit in like, I don't know, 8 maybe is the last time you really saw any that were walking around in like, not swimsuits ever anymore. Like in the 80s, they were walking around in like bikinis and stuff. But ever since I've been going to SHOT Show, there'd be like a couple of good-looking, attractive girls, like maybe wearing spandex or like tight leather or something, but like nothing that a stripper, like nothing like from a stripper's or like a stripper, nothing that you couldn't walk into a restaurant with or something. But even that, they quit in like 8. But I was going to say they definitely hire people that are just like extra booth people, like fitting on the size of the company and what it is they're doing. If it's something like, just some Chinese importer and all they're doing is copying designs off some American company and importing it, and they just need people there to like literally take orders. Like they know they're going to make so much money at that show that they don't even, most of the time they don't need that many employees. They just, they know they're going to not even be able to take all the orders, right? So they're going to hire people that are kind of dumb sometimes just to kind of fill a suit or like hold a clipboard. And then again, some companies that are like huge and they've only got a couple of people that run the whole company, they'll have people there just to stand there saying like some sort of a script, right? Like some kind of simple, like you would if you were selling a car or motorcycle brakes. You know, hardly any model knows what a motorcycle brake's really talking about, but they're going to learn it real quick. You'll
Yeah.
see that kind of thing happening where they're basically ineffective, but they're not wearing a swimsuit, and they're not always girls at that point. They're just anybody who they hire, and they're usually wearing like their T-shirt or like their, you know, something that kind of affiliates them with the booth that they're standing there. But they're effectively useless. They're effectively handing out stickers sometimes.
Yeah, you don't see that anymore. Companies would rather spend their money on celebrity endorsement. So you used to be able to go to SHOT Show every year and see Gunny, you know, from the Full Metal Jacket. There's other celebrities that you can see at you know, the different booths and stuff. So you can find those people, you know, and they know what they're talking about because they're endorsing a product. They use the product, that sort of thing. And that's very, very different than just a show bunny that's just there to look good. But you know, so who's that SHOT? You have more than 2,000 exhibiting companies at SHOT. You've got say 30,000 plus attendees and attendance, you know, and plus media. So there's a lot of people there. It's the academy gets you a leg up. It allows you to plan. It allows you to get ideas for your booth. So it can be better. So it's not just a table and chairs. That sort of thing.
So I was thinking you should make AK-47 Christmas tree ornaments, and then people will keep them, and it'll have your logo on it. And when Christmas comes and they set up their tree, they're going to put the AK-47 on it with your logo and think of you every year.
You could do that. People are more inclined to want a bottle opener from the 475 Bishop case.
Yeah, exactly. If you're talking about their stuff, and also SHOT Show is in January, so you wouldn't do anything Christmas.
Yeah.
You could do something, you know, that's coming up right immediately, and not something that just happened.
But
the swag and stuff, are they going to address swag?
In terms of,
is that one of the like highlights in this? What do they call it? The agenda?
Well, she went over swag a bit today. But yeah, there is that gets talked about. Let me see where that would be most likely.
I would say that's got to be one of the more inconsistent things in my experience at SHOT is that like that. And I wish I knew, because I would definitely like bring a wagon. If I could tell what year was going to be a good year for swag, like I'd capitalize on it. But I can't ever tell. Like, so it'll go like a dry spell for years, and I'll think, all right, people have given up on patches and swag, and then it'll be the most phenomenal year ever. And then the next year will be horrible, and then it'll be one of the best years again. It's just kind of been weird lately, or since it's been at Sands.
Yeah.
Before Sands, it was almost always just get in there and start grabbing swag, because everybody was trying to outdo each other with awesome, cool giveaways. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was either this past year or the year before. I think it was Arms Corps. Rock Island had a bottle opener flashlight combination, and that was pretty sweet.
this is the book from books. This is the 3-ring binder, has the show schedule, or the Exhibitor Academy schedule in it. And then it's got all the contacts for people who does what, and the National Shooting Sports Foundation, show management, Freeman, which is their contractor, who to talk to for what you need, electrical, telecommunications, building things for your booth. We had Freeman print our large banner that goes on top of our booth. Then we've got information by tabs, and these are different classes and all the different things that they talk about. And then it goes into the tabs themselves. And then every slide that's shown, you get a copy of it. You can write notes.
Oh, I like that. I've had a couple of like classes before where they did stuff like that, and that's super nice because then you can picture that slide and you can write a note right there.
Yeah, like this class going in tomorrow morning, inside the mind of the SHOT Show buyers, and then this guy from the Centennial Gun Club, this guy from Sprague Sports, this lady from Davenport Guns and Shooting Club.
Oh man, I've been to Centennial Gun Club in Denver. It's pretty awesome, and I've been to Sprague's, at least one of them, but I haven't been to that other one.
Dude, Centennial Gun Club is like a golf course, like what do you call it? A country club for guns. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they call those? Country clubs. There's one in Austin. There's one in Centennial. Those are the two that I think of off the top of my head. I thought for a minute there's a couple in out east that are that nice, and I know where one's gonna be that nice, and then they're building one in Dallas that looks like it's gonna be that nice. Yeah, they call them country clubs. I haven't been to the ones in Florida that are really fancy either.
Yeah,
that one is pretty expensive.
I went to one in San Antonio that was really fancy too. Edge took me to one in San Antonio.
I mean, they've got like a sandwich shop or something like that where you can get like a BLT while you're shooting guns, and they do like if you're one of the members or whatever, you get free transfers, and they've got a range that you can use for free. It's pretty cool.
Dude, the one in Austin is like thousands of dollars. It's like $4,000 or something to be a member.
Yeah,
It's like not. Yeah, like you say, golf club, like in every sense of the word, right? Like not everybody can just join that damn club. It costs so much.
yeah. I think Centennial Gun Club's like for the base membership is like $300 a month or something like that.
mm-hmm. And then inside the SHOT Show media, so you have Women's Outdoor News is going to be on the panel. Roy Huntington from FMG, who does American Handgunner Magazine, Guns Magazine, Shooting Industry Magazine, Slight and Light from who does Shot Business and Shot Daily. It's going to be there. Next session, this one is branding.
This is tomorrow.
Yeah, these are all tomorrow.
Yeah, that's it.
Examples of booths and stuff, so you get all this. Another thing that they're going to talk about, Freeman Online. These guys can build your entire booth for you if you want to spend enough money.
Probably something to that, just putting the dump money into not thinking about it. Like, in other words, you just kind of show up and they kind of take care of it for you, and then they pull it down for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our
There's
companies
probably
do
stuff
that.
to that if you can afford it.
And then DOJ is going to talk about intellectual property protection and counterintelligence concerns. And this whole article on things. They give you DVDs too. you can get DVDs that they give you that talk about all this stuff in depth that you can listen to at your own time. This is the background of SHOT Show. This is all about branding in here: media exposure, booth display, sponsorship displays, digital advertising, and then sponsorship opportunities. I think this gives you numbers. SHOT Show TV, 50,000 hotel rooms airing SHOT Show TV. 155,831 Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube playbacks from SHOT Show. Product spotlight videos. Last year there were 136,379 video views on SHOT Show YouTube and social media channels.
They should talk about the diversity of those. Like, go back to the left side of that page. They're saying the hotel rooms or whatever. That's something that's impressive because that's getting piped out through a network there in Vegas. But that thing about 155,000 Instagram, does it say pages or views?
It says playbacks.
Okay, so that number is weak as fucking like bad gravy. So I would suggest they look at that. What was I gonna fucking say? I was just gonna say that's a bad number because that's like 2 Yankee videos. You know what I mean? Like that's not that many views or whatever. Shit, this is supposed to. I just lost my train. I was gonna say there was a better way that they could focus that. I think.
On the mobile app, I guess they had.
Oh, and I was going to say, instead of having the number of views, they should focus on the number of channels that are involved in making that number. Because that's a number, let's say 155,000 views, that's probably many, many channels, right? And I think that's a bigger advantage than trying to impress anybody with the number of views, because that's just not an impressive number for views. But what their real power is they're bringing the entire media to bear. So when you say something if you pay SHOT Show to say it to them, to the media, then you're getting all those different media platforms to talk about your shit. Having one Hickok talk about your shit isn't as good as having 100,000 different people talk about your shit.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Here's a question: Has security changed and updated since like the whole Las Vegas thing that happened, or is they try to treat people kind of the same because they know that they're there for the industry and that kind of thing? Or
it's changed.
Security's never changed. What do you mean? Like
they don't allow weapons in the hotels anymore at all.
Oh, I guess I don't know about that. I never go to the hotels that are there on the strip, so maybe they changed something in the hotels on the strip. But I thought you meant like SHOT Show. SHOT Show didn't change at all.
Well, when you're an exhibitor at SHOT Show and you're bringing weapons, every morning, when you get here, you check your weapons into one of the gun vaults, the gun rooms that they have here, which are basically vaults. And everything's checked in and tagged and inspected.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then they stay there until show opens. And in the morning before show opens, every morning, you go to the vault, you check out your weapons, then you put them on display. At the end of the day, you check them back into the vault, and they stay there. They have security and everything, and they stay there overnight.
That's gotta be a bum's rush.
That's changed then, because that's new, right? I'd never heard of that before.
Yeah, that's been.
That's insane.
We've been to SHOT Show twice. This will be our third time, and it's been every time we've been here. So, if it's changed, it changed before we got here. This was changed.
God, that's almost like I'll just bring pictures of my guns, and you can send me an order. I'll ship it to your FFL.
Some of these companies, I mean, they bring a lot of weapons, you know, and stuff. But you know, we bring 6 or 7. But there are some companies that I've seen they're checking in. They just have um, case after case after
Yeah,
case.
easily hundreds. Think of like Taurus or like SIG or something like CZ. Like these
Smith and
companies
Wesson, yeah.
or Glock, they got like 7 or 8 of each model, and they got 1,000,000 models. You know, like yeah, the big companies with the big guns. I had no idea. That seems like such a stupid burden, like for nothing. There's already security walking all around all night.
And then you have the next pavilion. The next pavilion's for exclusively all new exhibitors, and you can see them all in basically what amounts to the hallway. But these are essentially little booths or tables that you have your stuff on, and you just laser focus on 1 or 2 or 3 things, and that's it. And people walk around this like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people will walk through and see you. So this is before you get like a 10 by 10 booth. So most of the new people go to this because it's less costly to do that. So what comes with that? Well, what comes with the next pavilion is your stand, you get a stool, you get a sign, an electrical outlet, lead retrieval activation. All this stuff, if you have a booth, you pay for separately for the most part. So this is all one package deal, and that's
The disadvantage is you don't have hardly anywhere to put nothing. You got to stand in this little spot in a hallway, like you say, with people just constantly. They put it right in front of the media room, like door. So you got to walk right past it, and then it's right by this one exit. So it's like, and then it's right by the bathrooms.
Oh yeah.
So you're getting a deal because you're in SHOT Show, and you're certainly right there, but they ain't giving you nothing. You still got to hustle, and you still got to battle your own fatigues. Because in a regular booth, you can say, I'm going to sit down, or like, I'm going to bring a better chair. You can't even bring a chair to something like that. There's no like, I'm going to put a chair in the hallway. Like, there's people rushing by. There's all the people that run the show, emptying garbage cans and filling coffee pots and stuff. Like, they got no room for like you to spread out. So that's a whole challenge, I bet you, in one of those. Did you do one of those already?
We were in the next pavilion our first year.
Yeah, that had to be tough, no?
That was tough. Having our own booth was tougher, but that's because we had to do a lot more planning and building and stuff like that. You can have a booth that, if you don't plan property, that looks exactly like this. Don't have a booth that looks like that. But if you properly plan, you don't have to have a booth that looks like that. But bear in mind, if you're in the next pavilion, you're up on the 3rd floor. And they have people down on 2 directing people up to the next pavilion. But or if you want specific people to visit you, you can do what we did, to where basically Marissa stayed with the pavilion for the most part, and I ran around SHOT Show looking for specific people to get them up to our booth.
Diane, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to give an exact answer or anything, but just maybe a ballpark. How much would let's say I wanted to go to SHOT Show for the first time and be one of those new exhibitor booths that you're showing there?
Hmm.
How much money are we kind of looking at if I wanted to be in a new exhibitor booth? Because you did mention that it was cheaper, right, than
About
normal. It's more affordable.
about 3,500, I think.
Oh, okay.
You can ask. You can call them and ask. But
I was just wondering, just approximately, just to kind of give an idea, like how much money someone might be looking at. It doesn't, that's close enough. Just to give you an idea, I had no clue. Is it 10,000? Is it 5,000? You know what I mean? Is it only 1,000? I just had no clue what that range would be.
Do you remember how many badges do they give you for a next booth?
2, I think.
So
Was it 2, or was it more than that, Marissa? How many booths for next?
I'm sorry.
how many tickets for how many passes, I should say, how many badges?
How many people did they give us for the next pavilion for employees?
2.
2. Okay.
All right. And that makes sense. If you had more people, well, I could see 3 actually, but I guess if you had more than 3, it would definitely be a pile up.
For 10 by 10, I think I'm allowed 5. 5.
Say 5, bro?
For a 10 by 10.
You get 5?
Yeah.
Oh, that's decent.
I'm tired. I would have to look. I'm not looking.
Oh,
Did
that's
did they talk about how much money like one of those really big booths, like the ones that like Glock has and stuff like that? Those really like I don't know, they're like 10 by 20 or.
No, they're not 10 by 20, dude. There's like a thing of 12 10 by 20s, and there are 4 of those. Like, if the unit, like a lot, and then there's a block that's a bunch of lots, Glock has 4 blocks. Like, Glock has 10 times more booth than a normal person would have. And then that is one of the larger ones, but they have a lot of square footage because they basically have like 3 booths. They have so much people walking in that they duplicate their booth times 3. It's the same booth 3 times. You know what I mean? Like the same stuff 3 times, just so that people can walk up and actually get to somebody.
Now, are we looking at like 25,000 for something like that for one of the big companies to do something like that, or possibly more?
Way more.
We have the bigger companies will spend millions.
Just for the floor space, yeah. It's gotta be a lot, dude. Because it's like way more than 10,000 just for the smallest little booth. And like I say, there's 10 small little booths in like a block, and then Glock has 4 blocks, or maybe 6. I don't know. They have a ton.
And terms, commonly used terms for what is what. POV service. There's a slide in here. Oh, this one. If you have a bigger booth, what's going to happen is that you're going to, like, for example, Browning has 5 semi-trucks, semi-trailer trucks that come in with their stuff. Their stuff is sent to the Freeman yard, and then on SHOT, or the week before SHOT opens, their semi trucks come in and they start booth building. So they'll be booth building all weekend, 24/7. And they'll get it all built within a couple of days. Then what will happen is that tear down for the bigger companies is they have contractors that come in, tear all that down, put them back in the crates. The crates get shipped back to Freeman, and then they're reloaded onto common carrier where they're shipped, back to the company. If you're a smaller person like us, they have POV service. There's some POV service there. POV service is privately owned vehicle service. You're allowed to bring your stuff. You can have a trailer up to 10 feet long, by 6. You can get one of those at Trailers Plus. And you can tow all your stuff. They've got times, usually it's a couple of days before. What they'll do is they'll send you over to the Freeman marshalling yard, and you'll get a time to show up at the sands, because they can't have everyone show up all at the same time. It would just be chaos. So you get a time to show up in front of sands, and they'll unload you, take all your stuff to your booth, all your crates and stuff, and drop them right in your booth. And then
Nobody drives in there then. You're just driving up to those docks and back,
Right.
unloading, and then they take it in. Okay.
correct. Then at the end of the day, you'll wait for them to bring out all the crates, and everything that went in first comes out last, because they do it in reverse order. They'll take your empty crates, they'll drop it, in your booth section, and then you put everything in the crates, and then they'll come back later, and they'll when it's time to check out, and they'll take your crates to your to your trailer, and you'll load up, and then you leave. Usually that all happens on Friday. If you get bad directions, then things can go screwy, like happened to us. So turns out they dropped off our empties. Well, first we were waiting around for our empties to show up, and they said, "Oh, you can set up a text message. We'll text you when your empties are here, and you can come back, and no problem." We're like, "Okay, great. Then we can all go to dinner and just wait for the text message." So we went to dinner, came back, no text message, nothing. So finally in the morning, we got up and decided, ate breakfast, went up there, and there's all our stuff. Well, they had dropped them off an hour after we left, and they didn't tell us. And because it was now Saturday instead of Monday, they had to figure out where we needed to go, which we got bad directions twice, maybe 3 times. So we wound up having to drive onto the SHOT Show floor with the trailer, everything, and load up there. They brought the stuff to the trailer, we loaded up, and then we left. But that was just crap thing, because we didn't get out of SHOT until Saturday afternoon. And we could have been out Friday evening. So you got to have good communication with the floor manager, and you got to double check things yourself, and don't trust people. Don't really, double check it yourself. So POV service is a way to avoid having union labor. If it's anything bigger than, say, a luggage cart, then that is union labor, and then you have to hire somebody to do it, to move all your stuff. You really don't want to do that. So that's what that is. Range days. That occurs on the Monday before SHOT Show opens. And that is where you're going to pay several $1,000s to have. They give you a booth. They give you 2 shooting positions, and then buyers and the media can shoot your weapons all day long on your dime with your supplied ammunition. Yep, they get to shoot them. So you could go through 14,000 rounds in one day.
Yeah, I found the Second Amendment Foundation on the floor plan.
I wonder if they get a discount at all, like any kind of 2A organization, since they're not like necessarily pushing a product. I wonder if they, if SHOT Show goes easier on them and gives them a discount on booth space or stuff like that.
Well, they've got a tiny, tiny booth compared to some of these things.
Yeah, you see this dead horse? Like this little teeny square right here is a 10 by 10.
Okay.
And then you got a section like this. This is SIG. So
Oh
just
wow.
just imagine this little tiny square going in this big spot.
It's crazy how they have it all like mapped out already. Like, hey, this is where your booth's gonna be.
Well, this was this past year's
Oh,
map
okay.
right here.
I'd be really curious if they give like FPC or GOA or the Second Amendment Foundation, if they give them a discount or anything, since they're fighting for our rights and stuff. I would hope so, but I'd be curious to find that out.
So I talked to Alan for a while this year, and he said that the reason they're not upstairs, they normally would be upstairs. He's like, we're sick of paying $8,000 for a booth, so they took the nonprofit option, which was free, and it's sort of like in the main, I guess you could say, aisle. Like if there has to be a fire aisle, so like if they had to drive a fire truck into the basement, it's like that aisle sort of. There's really no center of the basement, but it's kind of like the center aisle of the basement is like wider. And in the center of the center aisle, there's like some tables, and that's where they put the nonprofits. There's only like 8 of them. So NSSF is 100% not a gun rights show in any way, shape, or form. They only pay the like slightest courtesy to the nonprofits. And in fact, if the nonprofit tries to set up in a booth, they treat them the same as if the bishops tried to set up in the cult booth. They'd run them out. Like they'd run both companies out. They'd say you're double dipping or whatever they call it. Like if a nonprofit tries to sit in with a real booth, they'll run both of them out of there. They're really jerks about it.
Oh yeah, I don't like hearing that. Not at all. I think, man, yeah, I think that they don't have to have a SIG booth, but I'd like to see them be able to get a 10x10 or something in a main spot like that for free.
So
I would think it'd be good, but they consider. I don't know. Go ahead.
you wanted to know about costs. So here's a slide. Everybody pays $39 a square foot.
Oh, okay.
If you're a member of the NSSF, you can deduct it, the membership dues from the booth price. Then there's a corner fee of $600.
Oh, I had no idea. That's pretty cool.
So if
still
you're on
looking
a corner, you pay $600 more
Yeah.
extra.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at $3,900 for a 10x10.
Yep.
And $4,500 for a 10x10 corner.
That's the real estate.
Right. Yeah, that's not including travel and.
No, I mean there's other fees, right? That's just the real estate of the booth. Then
Oh, probably like electrical and
Oh, yeah.
stuff like
yeah,
that.
you got to pay for like if you want a table, that's not included, right? Like there's certain things that are included, but everything else is a la carte.
Now, did they say anything, Diane, about expanding into another casino this
You
next
missed it.
coming year? Oh, did
Yeah.
I?
Yeah, but they are definitely doing that. It sounds like in 21.
2021, they're expanding to the I think
MGM?
it's called the MGM Forum. They're
Yeah.
building that building right now. It's going to be across the street, I think, from the MGM. They said they're going to have some big names anchoring that place, so it will attract people to go there. And
They're gonna contract Night Strike. He's gonna do like a late evening show, so that attracts a lot of people to Vegas.
And then there's other costs depending on what you need. Doing all this stuff. Of course, you can't forget about this stuff. For your staff and all that. And then badges, and ride shares or taxis, or they've got a tram that runs between a lot of the hotels. You can get in booth.
Did they give you like a tram that takes you in the back door if you're a booth, so you don't have to go through the stupid front like everybody else?
The tram does not stop at the Sands Expo.
Oh,
So what I was thinking you should do is, you know how you were saying you should bring like a wagon or something to carry behind you to get all the swag.
Mhm.
So you bring in a wagon of burritos to begin with, and then you trade the burritos for guns throughout the day because the people in the booths are like starving, and like who cares about
There
a
you
gun?
go.
That's a burrito, and then
There
you can
you
walk out with a wagon full of guns at the end of magazines and red dots and stuff.
Yeah, except one problem. There's no merchandise changing hands during SHOT Show. Like none.
Well, you're not selling. You're gifting them a burrito, and they're gifting you a holster. Like that's
Oh, you can't exactly gift them a firearm. that would kind of be frowned upon.
I'll just take a number. That's fine.
I've always wanted to set up a booth at SHOT Show, but have it be like those old-fashioned like dunking booths, right?
Mhm.
But like you shoot the target, then it dunks like the head of the company or something like that, right?
Mhm.
Yep. Bring back those dunking booths. I think that'd be hugely popular.
Oh, we talked to all these people tonight about what they're offering. And, well, most of them we're not going to use, but some of them we do use. Freeman we use. Freeman audio video. If you have any audio video needs, you can talk to them about that. If you need them to produce anything for your booth, we produced our own stuff. So, and this is another thing that's really useful that they're going to have, which is where you share information from each other, with each other based on your experiences and different things that they'll have. So that's another thing going to happen. Facilities map for 2020, except the actual booth locations have not been released yet. I mean, a map with all of them. Ours is going to be moved to in more of an aisle that's more in line with the registration door. Hopefully more visible. And then all the deadlines for when things have to be. So you get that. This is all planning. When you've got to have SHOT Show tracker ad space if you're going to do that done. When you've got to have artwork done. Show directory ad space due this day. And all,
cool. I like that.
Everything you to go see. If you're gonna have flowers, you see those people. If you're gonna have photography, those people handle that. If you're gonna have internet and telecommunications, you go see those people. Be aware that they provide free internet for attendees. Just be aware of that. Do without with what you want. But so if you want internet, I would just use your unlimited data plan and tether your laptop off your cell phone. Seriously, because the cost of that is ridiculous.
Well, I know in previous years, it all depends on what carrier you have. One carrier will have better coverage in there than another carrier. like Marco and me, we try to hit up, all different carriers. We have backup phones. Like I'll do Sprint, and I forget what the other one is I have. But he'll have Verizon and T-Mobile, and and whichever one works, that'll be the carrier that we tether off of.
And another thing that's really, really important is this. Throughout the year, if you're an exhibitor, you get contacted by especially people that want to give you, quote unquote, the best deal on hotels and stuff, and they're not affiliated with SHOT Show like at all. And so you will get outside companies that you've never heard of contacting you about all this stuff that there are official contractors for. So you just got to be aware of things. Now, if you want to go with a non-official contractor, you can, but then there's, things to be aware of.
So you should just give everyone your credit card number where they ask questions.
No.
That's a great way to go through life too, by the way.
There's On Peak is the official housing company for 2020 SHOT Show. Be vigilant if approached by any other company. Be aware of this. Then there's this stuff that happens that you want to be aware of. And be aware of.
So I got a question for you guys that have been to SHOT, like Pink, Diane, G-Webs. Have you been, Honda?
No, I never have. It's something it's on the bucket list to go there and check it out, but I haven't done it now.
So my question would be, like, for the newer, smaller companies and stuff that are going there that might have a brand new product no one's heard of, what do you feel might attract people to those booths and bring them to those booths? Is it like a flashy booth? Is it a bunch of swag? Is it like the friendliness and the outgoingness of the people working the booth? Like, what do you think is because there's obviously people like, you're working there to grab attention, right? To grab people over to your stuff. So what do you see actually working? What has brought you in to those smaller companies? Is it just the product that they're offering, or is it, something else? Like, what do you see being effective?
Do you ever go to the Renaissance Festival and they've got the heckler? You should hire a heckler for your booth. They'll heckle people into the booth. Sorry, go on.
Probably the first thing that draws me in is swag.
Swag, like patches, stickers, keychains, stuff like that?
Yeah, patches, keychains. I know one booth upstairs had suppressor keychains, which is pretty sweet. But
now, did that make your keys silent so they're not going ding ding?
But it was an actual little mini suppressor keychain. But yeah, pretty much patches. If you've got like an off the wall awesome patch, word gets out, people start coming to your booth for that patch.
Yeah, but then they're just there for the patch. They're not there to look at the products or whatever, I mean, maybe they are, but.
Well, but that gets them in there to see it, right? And then they're like, oh, I never knew I was even interested in a new pair of glasses or a new pair of shooting sticks or bipod design, or right? And that actually, where they might have just walked by that before and not paid any attention to it. Oh, it's bipod. I don't, I'm not interested in some new bipod.
Now here's a question that I had is, like, how many people that are in there, like the media people or whatever, like the people who were creators or like there to buy, how many of those people have cameras with them or are doing recording as they're going? Is that like like 1 in 10, or is it more rare than that?
Hold on. So you corked his question and then you asked another question. So Dead Horse had asked about what makes somebody go to a booth. I'm gonna
Especially the smaller booths, right? Like everyone's going to go to Glock, but I'm talking like the smaller companies, new products, stuff like that.
right. So I don't know, Dan, if you want to go ahead. Are you putting up the thing of liver?
I'm showing you swag.
I thought that was a thing of liver. I'm like, I don't think raw liver's.
No. This is beef jerky.
Ooh, food would be good swag. I would definitely go.
Here's what I think. If you're going to SHOT Show in 2019, or I guess 2020 now, right? And you go in there as if it's some sort of a weekend trade show, like we were talking about before, like some kind of car show that people pay $25 for, but if they call a radio station, they get the tickets for $10, right? And that's what they're just going to do. And then after that, they're going to go to, some restaurant. Like, that's not what SHOT Show is all about. So I think SHOT Show is the resource that you build up beforehand. So I don't think I think you're doing it wrong if you are trying to build a booth that attracts people walking by. I think that at this point in 2020, people going to SHOT Show already know why they're going there. Very few people are just going to browse and trying to compete with the flashy booths or with the interesting stuff is a dead end game, because it only attracts ultimately some people. It doesn't matter who those people are. They could be the best people, the worst people, somewhere in the middle. It's only some of them where you're there in a show. So I'd say some strategies to just be able to capitalize on everything that you experience there, but then preparation is my advice. Like preparation, so that people are coming to your booth, right? People coming to your booth, asking where your booth is, that's got to be the best promotion of all. And then once there's people at your booth standing in line to talk to you, which would be ideal, and you should be able to do that considering there's 365 days and you only got 4 days at SHOT Show, and really only a couple of hours when you think about it. 32 hours at SHOT Show that's actually live. Like, you should be able to schedule 32 1-hour interviews so that your time is full. You know what I mean? And then that's 32 contacts, as opposed to going there and trying to be like at a gun show where you're just trying to attract somebody who's like browsing on a weekend, shooting the breeze, or wasting time.
So they did give us a choice of shirts. This is the one I got. I stand for the national anthem. Pretty cool shirt.
What do you think attracts people into the small booths, Diane?
I think you should put the product that you think the product that you think is going to do the most bang, put that front and center. For as an example, I think that you should, put it front and center. Put it at eye level. If you think about what retailers do, they put the catchy stuff at eye level, so you see it. You don't have to look down. It's not hidden behind something. Have it well lighted. And then the other thing that I would do is you're going to have an idea of who your target is. Especially if there are other people that are exhibiting at the booths. You can send someone down to go find those people and invite them to your booth while they're at their booth. And you can get people that way. The other thing is there's color-coded badges. There's a thing in here there that tells you who's a buyer, who's an owner, who's media, and you by the color of the badge, by the color of the stripe on the badge. And then there's another thing that you can get.
So when you say buyers, are you talking like people who own gun stores or distributors, stuff like that?
People who are buying for gun stores. That could be the owner. That could be a retail establishment that has a buyer.
So it could be a hardware store because it's not all guns, right? It could be a hardware store or like a sporting goods store. But then there's also buyers for units. So like a police department, a military unit, they'll have procurement officers, and then they'll have people that are whose job it is to, like, you know, at a big enough agency, you'll have people whose job it is to do, I guess you could just say procurement, but at bigger levels, like contract fulfillment levels and stuff. So those people will go, because again, it's a way to get industry together. So they can go, I'm sure there's a lot of networking and all that, but, you know, they can go lay hands on the kind of stuff they're talking, maybe contracts, you know, that are going to be done later on in the year for dozens or hundreds of thousands of units or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
How many millions of dollars? And I know that the money doesn't exchange hands at SHOT Show, but how many millions and millions of dollars do you think SHOT Show creates from that? From what you're talking about, like, a rough guess. Like, what would you say? Like 100 million or more, or what?
All of it.
All of it.
No, it's like, seriously, it's like most gun shops that are doing business that way, because I'm sure gun shops might do other business other ways. I've only known people that go to SHOT Show. Like, they'll do their whole year's business there. They're not passing checks, but they're like, okay, I'll buy this many now, and I'll buy 6 more then, or I'll buy 60 more, depending on what you're talking about. You know, they'll do their whole, like, company's orders, like, plan them all out, because that's where, like, at SHOT Show, you can say, hey, I want to carry your gun. You know, can I buy 10? And they'll be like, yeah, but if you buy 15, you get it, like, the 16th free or whatever the deal is. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. So then I'll order 16 then. Can I order those last 2 in October when I need them and not now? And then the manufacturer can go, oh, shit, I just sold enough guns to last all year. And I don't have to make them all in June. I can make them throughout the year. So that means I can buy all my steel now when it's cheap, and I can buy all my wood when it's cheap. So, yeah, there's so much business, like all the business, dude. There must be other business happening throughout the year, but I'll bet you 80% of the gun industry happens that weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know. I'm just pulling that number out my butt.
No, that's, you know, I would say that's probably a believable number. I would probably say the same thing.
Just because, yeah, Glock can talk to Sports South, you know, and like, how many guns does Lipsy sell? And that happens at SHOT Show, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know this past year they didn't have, flashy stuff out, Dead Horse. But what drew me into their booth was this right here.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I mean,
that got me too.
they had that, center on their display, and it just drew me right into it. I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, a 458 SOCOM.
Yeah, that wood is just, that's real cool. That would draw me in too. I really like the looks of that gun.
Which one?
The lever.
458 SOCOM lever action.
Oh, that one. Yeah. So yeah, that's. Well, thank you.
I mean, that's the one item that drew me right into that booth.
There's a 458 SOCOM lever. That's one thing that drew him into our booth in January.
Oh.
So. Yeah, stainless steel version. We're gonna have a stainless steel version of it. We improved the bolt action, so now we can do 8 rounds in the magazine plus 1 in the chamber. I think
18-inch barrel, right?
16-inch plus the muzzle brake. But the barrel is 16 inches.
Darth Vader just entered the chat.
That's probably my cat bugging me for a treat.
Well, I tell you what, it slowed down a bit, and we've been live for a while, and we still got 10 people watching, but we got our thumbs down, so that means we should shut it down. No, but we've been chatting for a bit. Thanks for telling us about the what is it called? It's not university. I want to keep saying
Shot
university.
Show Exhibitor Academy, and it's been my
Academy.
pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. And we'll just keep chatting off air here. And anybody that wants to jump in, we'll have the link over on Gun Channel. Thanks for joining us on the Daily Gun Show. Thanks, Pink, Honda, Dead Horse, Bishop.
Thanks for the invite.
Yep.
Toodles.
Thanks for the invite.